What did I show you? Are you guys? Am I live? Refresh the page. Let's see. Live streaming is starting soon. Why? Increase the volume. Hello, hello, hello. Full volume. Okay. There might be a little bit delay, but this works. Okay, so this was the URL, right? Okay, cool. Yeah, so it works. There's probably a little bit delay.
On YouTube URL. I said something.
Doesn't matter. I don't want 25 participants. I want unlimited. And I think Google doesn't restrict anyone. Okay, mute that, please. I don't want to hear myself after 5 minutes.
Time machine.
Oh, it's almost time to go for lunch, I guess. Okay. Radna, how did you get here?
By car.
You have a car?
Yeah.
How did they give you license?
They,
Underage license? So let's go back. Let's see. I didn't send it to my fantasy group, right? Okay, so where are we? Where were we? So team ID name, league ID name, so you know which team belongs to which one. But there's order is also important, right? Every team has order 1, 2, 3, 4. So we'll have to add that too for every single order. So they'll have every single team will have based on which league it belongs, order 1, 2, 3, and 4. So, make sense? Next is so once this is done, now once they make a pick, we'll have to make a pick table. Did we make a pick table? Not yet. So the games that are there is game ID, ID1, ID2, and which week they are playing. So this will tell me which players are playing which week. League players. What was league player? Okay, league ID and which player is actually playing in that league. So this will give me information of which players belong to which league. That's was that. And finally, let's do the pick table. So pick table. What do we need here? Make it as simple as possible. So let's say pick ID. Okay. Player email ID. So that's his unique ID. And then the week, which week he's playing, right? And then what was his pick for that week. But he can make two picks, right? Because he can select out of team 1 and team 2 which one is winning, team 3 and team 4. So there's 2 picks that they'll have to make. Just make it. Pick 1 and pick 2. Right? So make it simple. Price T. T. Pick 1 and P pick 2. I mean, now this is where I'm causing a problem. This is a problem here. You see what the problem is in the picks table. In future, if I want to add more teams and stuff, so it's not scalable, it's going to cause me problems. So I'll probably have to have like another table which will have like player and pick and all that stuff. So it is not scalable for picks for teams, adding more teams. So I'm restricting it to only 4. But if you think about it, you know, if you are playing a real league like NFL or something like that, they have limited number of teams and players and stuff. So they probably are not restricting it because in future, what if like they want to add like more players and stuff? So that's why. Hey, volume. Where is the volume coming from? Is it Mike? Is it that guy? Gone? Is it gone?
Yeah.
Okay. Hmm. So what next? I forgot. I didn't realize there's a volume bar over there. So this sounds like a okay database for now. We might have a lot of problems, a lot of issues in this doing this. So first thing first, what should we start with? What do you think we should start with?
Backend.
Backend database, right? But okay, sorry, backend and then the database. So we'll have to start a server where we can actually access all these things to see if everything works. So what are we going to use for backend? PHP?
SQL.
Backend,
Oh, the
backend server.
SQL did everything.
What do we need for backend server?
No.
Node? Okay, if you say Node, then we'll use Node.
No, next to SQL.
What? What are you talking, man? SQLite is the database. Node is the server. So we'll be using Node server. Now, Node has a bunch of different servers that are available. There's built-in server, which is HTTP server that comes with Node. There are third-party ones available, like Connect and Express. Express is one which is every single time. It's long weekend. We can go shopping a little bit. So the Express is one which is used quite a lot. Now, if you want to start a Node server, let me just go over a little bit. Come on. Node. Always have cheat sheets. Open it. Dropbox, Remote Tiger, Old Training, UI, Resources. Interesting. Okay, let's go back a little bit more. Which class was the last one? UI? July? Node. Do you see anything? Node. That is not what I'm looking for.
Maybe novice class.
I think it is Node steps. Did I even create this thing? There's no one from the previous batch here. How did we do Node training? Classes. See. Node. Maybe I used slides. Resources. Where's the slides folder gone? Slides is. Oh, there you go. I don't know why didn't it show up in search. Okay. So there's a lot of stuff, initial basic stuff which we don't even care about. Now, if you want to start on, let me show you how easy it is to start a Node server. Okay, first of all, I want to create a folder somewhere in Dropbox. Let's say training remote tiger. Where is my Labor Day classes? Inside this, I'm going to create a new folder, and this will be our server. Okay, but I'm going to add some stuff and then I'm going to delete. I mean, not use it because I want to show you the basics of Node, how you can create one. So open in your favorite editor, create a. Wait, let's see, where should we start with? Not connect. Okay, this one. Creating a simple web server. So I'm going to copy this code and paste it here. What I'm doing is now Node works on the idea of something that we didn't do, scalability. Okay, Node is big on scalability. That means whatever you do, it should be scalable. So that's the main idea of Node. Another thing that Node works on is modularity. So everything is modular. Now, when you say modular, everything becomes scalable automatically. Okay, what does that mean? How does these terms even make sense? I guess since you don't have that much experience here, let me go in detail of what you do when you build a project. When you build a project, you're going to constantly keep on writing code here, there, everything, right? Based to just to get your requirements done. Whatever requirements you get, you'll try to finish that doing whatever you can write. Okay, you might have one single page with a lot of code in there, and your output will be perfect. Everything is working perfectly. but you've written everything to make it work in one single page. Okay, one single JavaScript file or one single Java class or Objective-C file or Swift file, whatever you use. So that's a very common mistake that uh, newbies, let's call it, newbies do. Okay, even in school when I was doing projects and stuff, that's how I used to do coding. Even when I got my first job, that's how I used to do coding. I was like, oh, this works. As long as it works, that's what I want. Right? That's what your goal is. Then I realized, okay, so this is, do you know that in last 10 years I've changed 8 jobs? You're familiar with that, right? I changed 8 H1B visas or whatever you can call it. Internships too. There's a reason why I changed my jobs in the start. Okay, I used to write really messy code, really bad code in the start. And then when the project is released, everything is working perfectly. Then my manager says, oh, let's add some more features to it. Okay, then I look at my code, I'm like, oh shit, I didn't think of that, that I'll be adding more features to it. So that means I'll have to completely redo my stuff that I've done and add those features because I have no space. I have set up my database, I've set up my things in such a way that it's completely crappy. I didn't think that, I would come back and work with it. What do? I go home, make my resume, apply for a new job. Okay, that's what I do. Because I'm trying to, the next person who comes in and looks at the code is like, crap, who wrote this code? Something like that. So that's when I realized that it's better to write modular code to take more time and write, meaning modular meaning you have to separate them out, separate out all your modules. Whatever you're doing, you have, like, they say model view controller is very important. Why is it important? Because you're separating out code, so you can add more models to, as in when you're doing more stuff, you can keep on adding models to your model classes, your views, you can keep on modifying it. So you're separating it out. Think about it that, okay, food examples. Again, back to food examples. Yesterday night, we were cooking pasta, okay, at home. So, and Harsha, she doesn't eat non-vegetarian. So this, I had meatballs, I had pasta, and I had pasta sauce. Okay, these three things that I wanted to add. Now, if I mix all three of them together, okay, and cook, I can eat it, right? Priyanka can eat it, Sandhya can eat it. But what about Harsha? She can't eat it. I don't. I hope they're not listening. Okay, so Harsha can't eat it because, I mean, it's not that she's not, but she doesn't want to eat meat. So what we did was we created a modular design. Okay, we cooked pasta separately. We had the sauce, and then we cooked chicken separately. Okay, and then we cooked. So now when I have modular code here, I can go in there. I can take my pasta, put the sauce, and then chicken over there, and then I have my chicken pasta. She went over there. She took pasta and she took sauce. Okay, and she had her code. It helps you make reusable components. Okay, you can use it wherever you want to add stuff. Like if they're creating a sign-in page for any website, my favorite website that I like to show you guys. Right, so if I have this particular page here, just, I mean, I'm saying page, but this module, login module. Okay, if I created it separately in a separate file, its own file, it has own authentication, everything of its own. Next time I go somewhere else, some other page, and like news and stories, and I want to add like login somewhere, anything, it goes back to that page. But if I wanted to add like that same section somewhere else, I can just import that file and then add it over there, right? I don't have to write that entire, one more text field, one more button, all that stuff. It kind of removes that need for that. So that's why you have to write modular code everywhere that you can think of. Wherever you think that you can make a new file, make a new file. Don't worry about it. It's a very common mistake by JavaScript people. iOS and Android, actually they push you to make separate files. Even though you can actually make it, you can write really messy code, but there are sometimes you can't. They doesn't let you. But in JavaScript, there's a lot of scope to write really crappy code. You can ask Aradhana. She can tell you. She's smiling over there. I know that she has written some really crappy code just from that smile. Okay, so you can write really crappy code. You can put all the, most of the code that I've written in JavaScript, I say that, okay, I'm gonna do this first, and then in future time I'm gonna separate these out and then write better code. Okay, that's everyone does that. So Then what happens when the project is over and I have time now? I'm like, why am I wasting my time? Project is over. Let me just go somewhere. Let me party, enjoy life, and I never get back to that code. And then next time when I come back, they're like, oh, let's add this new feature. I'm like, oh shit, I forgot to change it. So you see, that's fine. As in when you start writing code, you have to start making sure that they're very modular and they're very reusable. So that's one of the important thing. Why did we go there? Oh yeah, because Node itself, what it does is it is based on completely open source community. Node initially came out with some bunch of libraries that they had. There was this one guy, he wanted to make a backend server in JavaScript. He didn't want to use Java, .NET, all that stuff. He's like, why can't I make a backend server with JavaScript? Let me try to make one. He made one. He'd added some features. He had other friends. They joined him, and they're like, oh, let's add some more features. So they added a bunch of different features, and then they created it. They saw that they're writing really messy code. They said, oh, how about we separate out modules and we'll use as and when they're required. Okay, so HTTP is one of those modules. So if you want that module in your code, you just have to say create a variable and say require, I want this module. Okay, now this module comes packaged with Node. Okay, it's part of Node. Like when you install Node first time on your computer, it will be there. It install it every single time you're using it. So this is part of Node. But then now they wanted other people to contribute to. Like I have a team of 5 people, and we are working on Node, and everything is working perfectly fine. Okay, we have everything set up. But Santosh says, oh, I have this amazing server that is much better than your HTTP server. Do you want me to be part of your team? Justine says, oh, I have better than Santosh. Do you want me to be part of the team? Alamin says, oh, these guys don't know anything. They're kids. I know I'm master of making servers. I have my code. So now I'm confused. I have to look at each and everyone's code and try to figure out, which one is good, because I have to hire them and so all that stuff. So they said, why don't we make it open source? You make your own library, you make your own library, you make your own library. We're going to make something called as a package manager, which you can use inside your code. And depending on the user, like user meaning the developer who's going to use. Now I have a bunch of different servers available. Which one do I want to use? So let the developer decide. Okay, so what does that do to the Node community? They're like, we don't give a shit. Put whatever you want to add. So they came up with this Node package manager. If you go to npmjs.com, you'll see there's a sign up and build amazing things, and then give us the link to it, and we'll host it for you. I mean, not host, but we'll create a link for you. So what Node package manager does is you can sign up and then you create your own package. Like for example, Twitter. Have you heard of them? They have their own thing that you can actually use. So this is Twitter's. So, and this is the documentation. You see, this is how you can access some of the stuff that Twitter offers, Twitter's code offers. And then it's hosted on this particular link. Here, what Node is doing, NPM is doing is saying that library, the name of the library. Okay, they have a database which has the name, probably who created it, a bunch of different stuff, and a little bit documentation, link of where that project is. Okay, on GitHub or wherever it is, whoever provided it. So when the developer is saying that I want to use this package, okay, so you have to write a particular line of code, and what that will do is when you're executing your code, it will go to this URL, it will go to npm, download it, and then add that module to your code. That's what it does. So this is a very smart way of kind of like app stores. Like App Store does one extra thing, which is if you have mobile phones, App Store. You know what App Store is. In App Store, you have the name and you have okay, you have the name, you have the app description, you have, but Apple also hosts the app on their server. Google hosts the app on the server, but who Node doesn't even do hosting. It just says, give me the details and I'll add it over there. So a lot of people, yesterday I spoke about this. I guess that was to UI people. A lot of people just created hello world and they said, oh, these are our. So if you see, there are a lot of them. If you want to look at search for, there's a way on terminal, npm. Type npm or not on your computer. Node package manager. If you go to How do you install npm node? So if you guess, once you go here, you look at downloads, you can install it probably from here, something like that. Once you have that, you have npm, and then you can just say npm node package manager search. If you want to search for all the libraries, you just say npm search. Okay, all the different modules that are available. What is it doing right now? It's searching for all of them and trying to give you the list of all of them. But we might have to wait for like several hours or maybe days. Why? Because if you saw here, when I said hello world, I got 8,837 results. When I wrote hello, 16,600. And there are so many things that I can search for. Okay, when I did Twitter itself, the 7,791. So think about how many libraries there are. So this will never actually go through because it's still trying to get all of them. Okay, so now what? What should I do? How do I make sure that? So this is the best place to actually go and see what libraries you want to use. If you want to use jQuery in your node server, you can look for jQuery, and you'll see jQuery also has a library. You can anything, any package that you want to use, something that you heard from someone. Someone is saying, "Oh, this nice module that is there." How do you hear about all these modules? They're not documented or available. Anything that becomes popular, you hear about it. Have you heard of Angular? Have you heard of React? React.js, that's getting so popular these days. How did you hear about React.js? Because a lot of people started using it. They started, so it's all about word of mouth or online blogs, all that stuff. That's how they get popular. So have you heard of Ogli? Some of you have heard of it, but not everyone has heard of it. Because it's a piece of shit code, right? Yeah. Anyways, we wrote some nice code yesterday. Okay, so it's better now. So what? So HTTP is a module. So every time you want to use a module, you just say variable HTTP request HTTP. Now this is a built-in one, so I don't have to do anything special right now. But let's say this is what I need. So I'm telling my project. Okay, let's create this remote tiger labeled a server. Click. I'm going to call this HTTP server.js file for now. So this HTTP has this function called as create server. Okay, this create server is going to run this anonymous function closure, whatever you call it in whatever programming language you work on. It's same thing. So this, whenever you call create server, it needs a function which will have a request and response. Request, you'll get it from whenever someone makes a request. So you're building a server, right? So whenever someone calls a URL, it's going to give a request, and then you are responsible to give a response. So this function will give you request and response. Request will have something inside it because the request happened. Response is pretty much empty right now. Okay, and it is asking what do you want to put in response. So I'm saying response.write header. So I'm saying I want to send some header details like 200. This is HTTP status code. Like 200 meaning everything is okay. 404 meaning page not found. So you can specify whatever you want. You are the server now. You are on the other side. Okay, you are the boss. And the content that I'm sending is text HTML. And I'm saying end, this is the actual body that I'm sending. And I want to send this HTML body, whatever. I'm passing request URL inside it and passing it. I'm just also console.log. This is not going to be displayed on user's browser. It's going to be displayed on the server side. Okay, so that someone requested this for my reference. And I say listen to a port, 3000 ports. So I'm using 3000 port. Now, if you want to run your own server on your own computers, there are a bunch of different ports that are available to you. They go from something, I don't know where it starts, but it goes up till 64,000 something. So, and I'm saying that localhost is the name of the server, so it will start the server and run it here. Now, how do I run this server? I'll go here onto my terminal and go to that folder. Okay, inside this, I think it's node HTTP server.js, and it's running my server. That's it. This much line of code. Okay, will start my server. Now on my browser, if I go This is my client side. Say okay, get. It says home URL was slash because I didn't add anything here. This is slash index.html. No matter what my request is, it's gonna be processed. Why? Because what does the server do here? As soon as it gets any request, what does it give you back? It gives you this HTML back. So there's never any error or any problems unless there's no internet connection or unless my server goes down. In this case, even if I don't have internet connection, it will work. Why? Because I am running the server and the client on the same machine. If you go to your browser and then not localhost, but you enter my computer's IP address, since we're in the same network, you can actually access my computer. That we'll see later. But if you see here, first request was slash, okay, because I just entered localhost 3000, so no. Then it also said favicon.ico. What is this favicon.ico? On the top here, if you see this icon on the top, this icon request. So it's making a request to that icon. So I think mine is cached from before, that's why. You can add an icon inside your root directory and it will just get that. Index.html, second time I said index.html there. I can add whatever I want and it's gonna say that's the request. Okay, so that's how this, so this is how you can run a server. Very simple, very easy. But of course you don't want to send something like this. You want more detailed version, more. So you can use some other modules. Another server that is available is Connect, but this is not part of what is it called? No, NPM. Sorry, Node. This is someone else made this server and said, "Oh, this is available. Do you want to use it?" Okay, something like that. So how do we access those kind of folders? So I'm going to create another folder here. We call it Connect. Show you how does Connect work. Okay, I shouldn't have done that. Anyways, so now if you want to initialize a node project usually, okay, so what you do is, let me close this server here, cd, what was the name of the folder? Connect. Okay, if you want to create a folder, sorry, you want to create a project in node, usually you don't just do like JavaScript file and run it. Okay, there are a bunch of different configurations. That is a very simple example that I showed. But if you want to create a project in node, you usually say npm init, which means I want to create a package of my own. So they kind of force you to make every project that you do a npm package manager. Now it's up to you. You want to host that package on your website and then just give it to your developers and they can just use it, or you want to share it with the entire environment. If you want to share it with everyone, you go to npm.js, sign up, and then give details about your project. But this is something that I'm just creating for myself. Okay, so I'm going to say npm init. He's going to ask me, do you want to name this project Connect because you are inside the folder Connect? Do you want to call? I can say yes, but it will give me an error and it says, sorry, name can no longer contain capital letters. So I'm going to say, okay, no problem, Connect. I'm going to say Connect 123 because Connect is the name of a module that is already there. Say, do you want to use version 1.0.0 or you want to change it to something else? I can say 1.0, I can say 0.1, 0.1, whatever number you want. If you want to use just that number, you can just press enter. That you want to give any description. Why not? What is the entry point? You know, what is the entry point? Is it index.js? Is it app.js? Is it main.js? It's up to you what you want to give here. If you are okay with index.js, this is the first file that will load it every time someone says HTTP. You know, if you're making a server, HTTP localhost 3000, this is what will run. Okay, so what is the first point? Test command, get repository, get if you want to add and get. So these are all like, what do you call it? I call them some metadata about your project. You know, you don't have to add all these information. Only thing you need is the name of the project and the entry point. Pretty much that's what you need. So you can just press enter, 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 and it might work. Is this okay? So it's going to create this. This is the, what do you call, metadata. If you're Android, you know manifest. If you're iOS, you know, what is it called? plist, info.plist, which has information about all of this. And if you're JavaScript, this is your package file. So I'll say yes. So this is a file which has all your information about your project. Okay, so if you see here, it created a package.json file. Did I open it in? Open it again. So package.json. This is information what I just gave. I can always modify this, change this, do whatever I want. The reason I created this is I want to use something that doesn't belong to Node, which is Connect, right? Connect server. So the package that was built by these people who call their package Connect. So that's what I want to use. So I want to use something called as a dependency. Now iOS people are used to, so Node package manager is nothing but CocoaPods for iOS people. Android people, it's Gradle. That's what Node package manager is pretty much. It manages all the packages that are available. Dependencies. Did I spell it right? Hopefully I did. That's why I always copy paste. Yes, it was right. And I want connect. I can specify here what all different third-party tools I want. I can say I want connect. Okay. Copy paste problem. Connect. So this is what I can specify here. That my project is dependent on connect library or connect package that is available. I'm also going to use another one called as serve static. With connect, just like HTTP, you will have to give like the entire HTML string, or you'll have to give like the file structure. Serve static, what it does is it will let me give like HTML, write HTML, JavaScript, CSS inside a separate folder and give a URL to that directly. So it makes it more easier. You saw what we did with the previous project, right? We gave HTML in the string, right? But I want to create a separate file for HTML, JavaScript, and CSS. So I'm going to use this serve static. Just by adding it here, it doesn't work. It will not work automatically. I'll have to go back to my here and say npm install. First, I'll have to go inside the folder connect. What is the name of the folder? Oh no, this is the folder. Okay, so npm install. I'll try to install those files. So if you see here, what happened right now is it create node modules. So these are someone else's projects that got downloaded and added here. If you see, this connect has package.json, right? Their own package. They have their own probably own modules that they are dependent on. Their index.js file. You see, so it's adding one project inside another project. Serve static, another one. What if I want something else? Like I want jQuery. jQuery are here. This is the version number. Okay, I can actually give a version number over there of which version I want to use, or I can give star and star will get the latest version and download it from me. So that's what that is. Install this time, it will see that jQuery was missing and it will add jQuery. What if I don't want to use jQuery? I can delete it from here. I can right click here and say delete. No, never delete folders like this. Okay, once you delete it from here, this is fine. Okay, remove from here, go back here and say npm prune. This will remove it for you. Don't remove it yourself manually from there. It might cause problems. Okay, you have to go back here and tell the project that I'm removing this. Once you remove that, so that's how you add and remove modules and stuff. So once more example. Okay, what is my starting page that I specified? Entry page.
Index.
Index.js. Do you see any index.js here? Maybe I need to create one. Index.js. Okay. Index.js is where I'll add all the code. Let's say something like this. If you see the code, it's much similar to the previous one. I'm saying require connect. If I had not ran that in npm install, where I've not installed the dependency, it would give me an error here. So no, I don't know. Serve static is the serve static library. Now, how do you create a server? You say app connect. So I'm saying calling this function connect, which is part of this. So it will start a server. Then it will say static. So I'm saying use meaning for every single request that comes in. Okay, where should I look for files? So I'm saying serve static public. So that means I'm saying that there is a folder inside here. This is a public folder inside which I'm going to add all index file, this file, that file. So it will try to find the file. Let's say in main.html. Okay, is there anything called as main.html? No. So it will go to the next one. Let's say what is the request? Main dot, couldn't find it. If it was able to find that file here, it will give found it. If it can't find it, it will print this out. Listen on port number 3000. Let's run it. How do I run this? Node. It's not giving me anything here. Why? Because I didn't write anything. Right? No console log. So let's go back here and look at this. Same port number 3000. Couldn't find it. Why? Because probably is looking for index.html or something like that, and I don't have anything inside my public folder. Let's create a valid HTML file, right? I mean, not valid, but it will work. What will happen if I refresh now? Hello world. So if you're changing anything inside this static folder, perfectly. But if you change anything here, you'll have to rerun the server again. Okay, that's important. So that's how it works. If I go to some other main.html, couldn't find it because that file doesn't exist in there. That's how this thing works. Okay, so this is connect. Are we going to use this? No. We are going to use express. The next one. Now this is, I guess, yeah, this is an entire project that I do with JavaScript class, but I'm going to skip that. And what we will be using is express. Yes, let's put that, or else I'll go shopping. Okay, I have this. This is how you install in Express, and I am going to use something that they have provided called as Express Generator. This is what I will be using, and I'll be creating my backend with this. So that's what we'll be using. So we'll be using Express for doing the backend. This is something similar to Connect and HTTP, but much more bigger. It's much more widely used. Even if you heard of mean stack, mean.io. Mean stands for MongoDB for database, Express, which is this Express.js that we're talking about. AngularJS is for the front end, and Node.js is for creating servers and stuff, which is part brings everything together. So that's what we'll be using. We'll be using Express backend server, and then we'll be adding. As and when we go, I'll show you how to add more and more files and create server and all this stuff with this. It has all the steps here. It gives you a lot of different, like if you see, it gives public folder, all that stuff. It already has serve static inside it, so you don't have to add it. They already have a dependency in there. So they've taken care of everything in here. All you have to do is write code. So all the basic stuff they've taken care of here, so you don't have to repeat it again. So we'll be using this, and this is what we'll use. And for the backend, we'll use, for database, we'll use SQLite database. That's what we'll create. So where we'll be creating the database structures and everything. And for the front end, front end will be initially just HTML, JavaScript, CSS, simple stuff, maybe jQuery library for the front client facing. We'll create forms and all that stuff, and then we'll do that. All good? Sounds good? Okay, let's time for lunchtime. I guess it is lunchtime. Anybody want to come to buffet with us? How many people? We have enough cars. Usually just HTML, JavaScript, CSS, simple stuff. Maybe jQuery library for the front client facing. We'll create forms and all that stuff, and then we'll do that. All good? Sounds good? Okay, let's time for lunchtime. I guess it is lunchtime. Anybody want to come to buffet with us? How many people? We'll be coming back, right? Shut up, man. We'll be coming back. Right? Yeah.